So Olivier Rioux is somebody that's going. Well, we're now seeing more and more of him being talked about because, look, he is a 7'9" player. The man is 7'9", and a lot of people think that he's kind of just recently come onto the radar, and to a lot of people he has. And he's someone that I've been looking at since he was a kid. I've been like watching play since he was a kid. And if you guys don't believe me, I am BBALL Daily. How good is 7 foot tall, 12-year-old Olivier Rioux? I was BBALL Daily back in the day. But like, this kid was 12 and he was playing in a tournament in France where obviously at his age they lowered the rims and he was literally just dominating. And the one thing I will say is that for his kind of development, it might have been better had he stopped growing because he was actually really mobile at that age. Like, he was super mobile for a 7'1", 12-year-old. And obviously, as people grew up, got taller, like, he's playing at 8-foot rims because that's what they do in a lot of countries. For development of players, obviously, the development of players rule doesn't take into account a 7 foot tall 12-year-old. But when we're talking about him, we gotta just talk about how he's been, because I've heard a lot of people saying that he's gonna be an NBA player, he's gonna be the tallest ever. I think it's unlikely. Look, he was in IMG Academy, and sometimes you're just too tall for basketball. There's nothing really you can do. So, like, if you want to look at Olivier Rioux, he averaged in the World Cup. In his defense, though, this is the under-19s World Cup playing with guys 2 years older than him. He averaged 3-3 and didn't play in a lot of games. That's for the Canadian national team on a pretty decent Canada team. I'm trying to think, did Canada have any good players on that team? Like, he had, like, it's not really ever going to be, he's never really going to be dominant playing 2 years up. But, like, any NBA players on this team? Not that I know of. They were like 7th in the World Cup. But obviously, Olivier Rioux has gone to Florida. And we've seen him at practice just how much taller he is. How much taller he is than everyone else. As far as I'm aware, he has walked on. Now, this is not a scholarship. He was rated as a 3-star recruit, mainly because the man is 7'9". He is 7'9". Like, he is the world's tallest teenager. Like, crossed the 7 foot mark before entering 7th grade. Like, that's when he came on my radar. But there is a couple of very concerning things. Like, he had 10 and 9 rebounds, 10 points in one game and 9 rebounds in another in the America Cup. And they finished bronze. Like, this is where the problem is. As you can see here, if you want to look at this right here. So, playing a year up as an under 15, playing in the under 16s America's Championship, he averaged 8-3. And then 3 years later, playing his own age, under 18s America's Championship, he goes and averages 4-4. So you can see there, as far as even just efficiency, I don't even know what stats mean for that. 15 versus 6.8. So this is playing up an age group. And then the under 17 World Cup, again, playing up an age group, averaged 2.7 points. So this would have been with pretty much the same Canadian team, goes down 6 points, and it never averaged above 5 points a game again. So, like, he's struggling at youth level. I'm hearing a lot of people talking about him maybe being like a Taco Fall, maybe being like a Boban Marjanovic. But, like, we have to also take into account, like, if you know anything about Boban Marjanovic, like, I don't like the comparisons to Boban, because Boban's way better than people give him credit for. Like, Boban Marjanovic has lasted in the league for the guts of 10 years. He's 36. But Boban Marjanovic was a 3-time Serbian League MVP. He was the Serbian League MVP 3 times. And by the way, do you know who was in the Serbian League during this time? Nikola Jokic. He was also, again, won the Adriatic League Championship in 2015. 3-time All-ABA first team. 2-time Serbian Cup winner. He was an LKL All-Star in 2011, which is the Lithuanian League. What age was he in 2011? He was 23. So it wasn't too young. But he played all over Europe. And people don't realize it. Like, he was in 2019. And by the way, like, this is all-star Nikola Jokic in 2019. Boban Marjanovic used to start for Serbia over Jokic. Jokic came off the bench for Boban for their national team. Like, Boban is at a level. Like, what Boban was doing at the international level at senior, Like, when he was young, he was absolutely, like, one of the best, without question, one of the best young players in the world. Like, he was. Obviously, the guy went undrafted in the NBA draft. Didn't really care that much about it, I don't think, because he was playing over in Europe. But, like, he was one of the best young players in Europe. The problem with Olivier Rioux is that he is 7'9" and not struggling, but hasn't been anything spectacular at the younger age. And only seems to be regressing against his peers. And that's not on him. Like, that's genuinely not on him. The one, like, positive is that if he is finished growing, like, if the man is finished growing, then by the end of his 4 years in college, he might be able to move well enough that he could play pro ball somewhere. And that's, for me, the ceiling of Olivier Rioux. Like, I think a lot of people are talking about him, saying, like, oh, he could be the tallest player in the NBA. He's so far off being an NBA player right now. Like, it's not like it's impossible. It's not impossible for him to be an NBA player, but he's so far off. Like, we're going to be honest here. Like, you're not going to see me hyping up guys that just are not at that level. And I think it's going to be a big disappointment when, like, I'm surprised he's not redshirted his freshman year. I really am, because, like, he's born in 2006. So, like, he's just turned 18? He's 18 this year. Like, the man could, like, he's a young freshman. So, there's no reason, for me, in my opinion, there's no reason for him not to redshirt this year. So, I would be trying to do that. Like, and, like, I've seen what colleges can do to players. Like, not quite 7'9", but there's a guy, Cian Sullivan, who was my age, who, like, from Ireland, was probably, as far as, like, coordination and, like, movement, quite similar to Olivier Rioux. This guy's maybe 7'3", maybe. But by the time he came back from the States, the guy moved at a completely different level. And while he never made it to the NBA, he never really was a high Division 1 player. The guy could come back to Ireland, play pro over here, and be, like, legit. Like, the guy played pro in Spain. The guy was able to play pro overseas. And I think that's what's going to happen with Olivier. I think we're going to see a couple of years of development of Florida. And if he's not ready by his, like, junior year, transferring out of Florida, maybe going Division 2, and having a solid last year or two in college, and then going and playing pro overseas if that's what he chooses to do. If he chooses to go play overseas, I don't think that would be a bad gig for him, because there's no harm, no shame in playing pro, not in the NBA. There's only 450 NBA slots, and in my opinion, he's not even remotely close to being at an NBA level. Like, he would not survive. He would not survive right now from what I've seen of him play. I watched him play in one of the America's championship games this year, and I'm like, he would not survive in the NBA. He would not survive in the G League right now. He would not survive in the Spanish third tier. He probably won't survive at Division 1 at the minute. He would not maybe survive at the Irish Superleague level. I doubt it, though. But he's at a good Division 1 school. He's going to get development. And from what I've seen, the kid works hard. The kid works hard, but he's just, like, as of right now, he makes Boban Marjanovic look like John Wall. So, yeah, I just don't think he's even remotely close. And that's just an opinion. Like, this isn't any sort of a breakdown. But at this point in time, from all the research I've done on him, and I've been kind of keeping tabs on him for the last 5 or 6 years, and, like, it's just unfortunate, because had he kind of stopped growing when he was 13 years old at, like, 7'1", 7'2", because he was a really mobile 12-year-old. He was really mobile when he was 7 foot. But the problem is that there's a big difference between 7 foot and 7'9". Like, the fact that he's able to move, like, he is maybe the most mobile 7'9" player we've ever seen. The problem is, still not very mobile. But yeah, that is the video. It's going to be interesting to see how he gets on. But I'm not going to be one of those channels that is like, oh, I've seen channels saying, oh, he'll be a second round pick after 4 years. Teams will take him. And it's like, oh, he's a guarantee he'll guarantee to be in summer league. Man, I don't like, unless there's some massive improvement, it's unlikely he's even close to the level of being taken as a summer league player. Like, look, it is what it is. Sometimes players can improve, and I really hope he does improve because he seems like a nice kid. Everything I've read about him, he seems like he's a hard worker. But sometimes players, no matter what they do, are just too small to make it in the NBA. Sometimes there are players genetically that are just too tall to make it in the NBA. And I do hope if he is interested in playing pro basketball, that he's not tunnel vision on the NBA. Like, there are quite a lot of players that are. Because I think even if he ends up being a 2-point-a-game guy at D1, there are levels of pro basketball where just being 7'9", especially slow down games, could genuinely suit him. But anyway, that's the video. Thank you guys for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe.